This is Russell from the Conversation Shed. Russell is very sad because he can't grow basil. Those beautiful green and velvet leaves just elude the man. So he asked me if I would put a video up showing how I grew mine. Here it is. Hello again. So if you noticed, I put a video up a while back about pruning or cutting back basil, and that's because I wasn't actually intending to make this particular video because I lost some footage and I forgot to film other bits of footage. But Russell asked a couple of times in chat about how I grew mine, and I thought, well, I'll cobble together what I've got and see if we can make some sort of a video out of it. Bear in mind, this is not an instructional video, it's how I did it and it worked, and this is my first time ever growing basil. So 2 small trays, ordinary compost. You saw the seeds there, they're very small. I spread them thinly across the top, labelled, and then a very thin layer of the same compost on top. They're not planted too deeply, it really is just a sprinkling of compost on the top. Now, don't do what I did here, which was I couldn't find my plastic labels, so I made cardboard ones which immediately disintegrated with the moisture content in the Ziploc bag. So once seeds have been sown, I gave them a good watering in. They were then put into a large Ziploc bag, which is where the cardboard labels disintegrated. So this then sat for about a week or so. I think it was about 8 days on top of Zuki's vivarium. The vivarium did its job, and where are we now? 14th of November, so 8 days later, and the cotyledon seeds are coming up, and a lot of, if not all of, the basil seeds have germinated. So this is 2 weeks on. So we sowed on the 6th, so 22 days from sowing, so 3 weeks from sowing roughly. The basil is looking very healthy, and it's time to actually pot these on now. Potting them on was just a matter of carefully digging out each plant. They're a bit like lettuce in the sense that they have a very small top growth but very large root. And I put them into larger seed cells, 2 in each cell. Just a matter of digging a hole and carefully dropping them in. Once all that was done, they were well watered. I didn't have enough of the large seed cells, as you can see, and some of them went into those little 3-inch pots. So once they've all been watered in, they were then brought back indoors and put under ordinary LED light. I don't have any of these fancy grow lights. They're just, I have 3 2-foot LEDs, and they seem to do a very good job. So this is where I lost a lot of footage. I didn't record stuff. So what you're looking at there, the green is actually cornflowers. I brought on some flowers as well. But you can see the basil. This is actually Christmas evening, and a lot of the basil I gave as presents. Christmas presents to relatives and friends and anybody I could get rid of them to, because I grew far too many. This bit of the video may look familiar. This is where I attempted to pinch out the growing tip of the basil, the idea being that you encourage it to become bushier, which has worked actually, because the ones I've done it to and kept are lovely big bushy basil plants now. You'll see them towards the end. So here we are today. Well, it's not today now. This was recorded on the 29th of February when Russell sent me on a guilt trip. So I've kept some of the basil indoors. They're growing extremely well. They're strong, bushy, vigorous plants. We're collecting loads of leaf from them. And the other thing I'm just going to show you now is how I dry out and store the basil leaves, because some we use fresh and some obviously needs to be dried out and stored. Now there must be a million videos on this. That's some oregano, which I'm really pleased, because I thought that was actually dying. And when I brought it in, there's not enough light gets into our front room from the front window really for indoor plants because of the direction the house faces. But I've got the oregano under the grow lights to see if it would recover, and it's actually doing very well. Now that we use a lot of the basil leaf fresh, I have some more basil plants coming on. The irony, I grew far too many and gave tons away, and now I want some more. But all I've been doing in terms of drying out the basil leaf is picking some leaves. They just go into a food grade plastic container. No price for guessing where that's left to sit on top of Zuki's vivarium, and after about a week or so, literally just sitting there in a container, that's all I do. It dries up to the point where you're able to crunch it like this. So you can scrunch it up between your fingers into very small pieces, and then this is a cleaned out jar of basil. There was actually basil Cania dried basil in this. We cleaned it out. It was empty. There was only a little bit at the bottom. So we cleaned that out, and now our own basil is being dried and stored in that glass bottle. So that's it. I hope that was of some use. As always, thanks for watching. Bye for now.